Maurice Nicole's Psychological Commentary, Volume 2, based on his work with Gurdjieff. Birdlip, February 8, 1945. Commentary on Conscious Love, Part 1 of 2. Some time ago, I received a letter in which I was asked a question about a phrase occurring in the first epistle of John. The passage is about love, actually about conscious love. Now, all conscious love depends on throwing out what is bad and selecting only what is good. Mechanical love is quite a different order. The passage in question was as follows: There is no fear in love, but perfect love casteth out fear, because fear hath punishment. And he that feareth is not made perfect in love. That's from 1 John chapter 4, verse 18. In the Gospel of John and in the Epistle of John, we find love emphasized. Not emotional love, as the conversation with Peter shows in the last chapter of the Gospel of John, but a different kind of love, which is connected with the idea of a goal, an aim, a gradual perfecting. In the above passage, the phrase perfect love really means in the gospel love that has reached perfection, as it were, through long trial and error. John followed the way of bhakti yoga. There are different kinds of yoga. Jnana yoga, which has to do with the work on the intellectual center. Bhakti yoga, which has to do with work on the emotional center. Hatha yoga, which has to do with work on the moving center, and many branches of these three different lines, which belong to man number 3, man number 2, and man number 1. In the fourth way, what we're beginning to study, a man must first work in 2 rooms, and then in 3, and then finally in the 4th room, if it is open to him, because in the fourth way, it is necessary for a man to reach some state of balance in which all his centers begin to reflect the work. But here in the writings of John, we have evidence of the way of bhakti yoga and the awakening of conscious love as distinct from mechanical, emotional love and physical love. The object of this way is to get in touch with his higher emotional center directly through love. Of course, we cannot understand what this love is from our ordinary idea of love, which is turned outward towards physical objects. John is speaking of another kind of love, just as the work speaks of another kind of love possible for us, which is conscious love. But this kind of love is very far from us, and to imagine we possess it already is the greatest of foolishness. We have to realize the illusion of love and how we ourselves cannot love, and how indeed we both love and hate at the same time. For this reason, John says, he who hated his brother is in darkness. And also, if a man say, I love God, and hate his brother, he is a liar. Further, he says that whoever has not this love of which he is speaking is dead. He speaks indeed of this love as a new birth, calling it being begotten of God, and says, whosoever is begotten of God doeth no sin, because his seed abideth in him, and he cannot sin because he is begotten of God. All love, he teaches, comes from the love of something higher than oneself or the world. He says God is love, and the only way in which love can be made perfect is to know and acknowledge the existence of God. It is in this connection that he says, herein is love made perfect. And in this kind of love, there is no fear. And that is why He also adds, if a man say, I love God and hateth his brother, he is a liar. He speaks often of how this love conquers the world and all its fears and cares and anxieties. He is speaking of something that can be awakened within us that is stronger than anything in life. He is speaking of something that changes the signs in us and reverses them so that what was active becomes passive and what was passive becomes active. In this connection, you will remember the teaching in the work about personality and essence, about how personality is active and essence passive, and how a man must undergo a complete reversal within himself so that personality becomes passive and essence active, so that he is born anew. We are given no hint of the method of the school to which John belonged, but we can see that it was a bhakti yoga school, and we can also see how in the third epistle, someone called Diotrephes had entered this school and was apparently trying to teach some other method. John says that he loved preeminence. Now, preeminence belongs to ordinary love, which is self-love.